We're going to talk about conflict and resolution today. Really important topic for all of us because everybody experiences conflict at one time or another. So today we're going to talk about how you can stop fighting the wrong battle and how you can prevent disagreements from becoming arguments. Really important skill to have, really important lesson for today. Let's dive in. Common communication errors. There are 6 of them, and I'm going to go over them one by one. Hello, I'm Dr. Debbie, and I've been helping men, women, and couples grow together for more than 25 years. Now it's your turn to learn what I learned and taught as a couples counselor and university professor. This is your personal development podcast packed with instant encouragement and practical tips. This is a safe place where women are valued and men are respected. We talk about biology, socialization, behavior, emotions, communication, and connection. Because men and women are different. Always have been, always will be, and that's a very good thing. The first one is actually harsh comments. You can be sure if you start a conversation with harsh words or harsh comments, it's probably going to go south. So why would we start a conversation with a harsh comment if we know it's going to go south? Well, there's one simple reason. We tend to bring things up after they've built up for a while. We have a lot of emotion behind what we have to share because we've been holding back and trying not to make, as they say, a mountain out of a molehill. We try to downplay things. We try to contain things that we don't realize that its pressure is building up behind that wall like a dam. And when you do finally say something, it's like the dam breaks and it just floods right out. And it's going to be harsh and it's going to be emotional and it's going to be powerful, but not in a good way. So what do you do about harsh comments? What can you change? Well, we could say just don't make them, but that's going to be hard to do because they have all that emotion behind it. Instead, what I recommend is that you actually bring things up sooner rather than later. So if something bothers you, bring it up in the moment. Don't stockpile it or put it in with what they used to call the kitchen sink fighting. It's like you throw in everything, including the kitchen sink, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to handle each conflict, each thing that bothers us as it comes up, so it can be resolved quickly and easily. So far, so good, right? The next thing that we want to look at is generalized statements. You always do this. You never do that. You always leave your dirty dishes all over the counter. You never put your socks in the hamper. You always forget my birthday. You never tell me something nice. You always act like this. I don't know what your problem is. You can see where that's going to go nowhere. So if you want to be able to resolve conflict, you want to keep the subject on the present focus. Talk about the here and now. Talk about what's happening now. And notice if you have a tendency to draw out things from the past or to start throwing in the kitchen sink, as it were, and making it more than what it really is in this moment. Okay? That's number 2. Number 3, criticism. Nobody likes to be criticized. I don't like to be criticized either. But when you realize that your words often, as you're registering a complaint or a disagreement with your mate, it can come out as very critical words. Like the obvious ones would be, you're so dumb or that's so stupid. That's definitely criticism. There's lots of other ways to criticize someone or criticize what they do. At any rate, the only response you're ever going to get from criticism, it's not going to be resolution to whatever the current issue is. It's actually going to be defensiveness. If someone attacks you, you're going to defend yourself. It's just a given. And guess what? If someone counterattacks you, you're also going to defend yourself. So it works in both criticism initial and criticism in defensiveness. So those counterattacks of criticism can be just as powerful, and it muddies the water about what's really going on in terms of the pattern that you create together. Next, explaining. Now, when somebody is upset, you explain, right? It's like, you don't need to worry about this because here's what I was really doing. And there's I don't know why you're so upset because A, B, and C, and then D, and what? In essence, what you're doing is you're invalidating that person's emotions, their experience, and you're protecting yourself. And anytime you're protecting yourself, especially if you're invalidating another person's experience, you're being defensive. Doesn't seem like it, but you think you're helping to calm down your mate's reaction, but you're really not. You're actually escalating it. I know this is a really hard one to grasp, but explanations escalate. Just keep that in mind. They both start with E, right? I like alliteration to help me remember things, so hopefully that'll help you too. Next, we have stonewalling. Oh boy, do I hear a lot about stonewalling. When I first opened up my blog on the psychology of men years ago, gosh, it's been a very long time. And I remember 27, 8, 9, I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I started that blog. And I put a post on there about why do men stonewall? And it just got bombarded with comments and all sorts of things. I have some YouTube videos on stonewalling as well. It's something that people blame the stonewaller for. It's like, you're doing this just to make me mad. You're doing this to manipulate me. You're stonewalling me because you want to get your way. And you know what? That's really 9 times out of 10. Actually, 9.9 times out of 10, stonewalling is actually a defense mechanism. It's not intended to be an attack or a manipulation, but it's like, this is the best I can do right now because whatever I say, it's not going to get any better, so I'm just going to shut down. I'm not going to respond to you. I'm just going to be quiet. And stonewalling really doesn't help. It's protective, it's defensive, but it really doesn't help the situation because the person who is being stonewalled will actually come at you even stronger to try to get a response. I used to say, to my couples that I worked with when I was doing therapy that, it's like your mate saying, "Hello, are you in there?" And they would tap real quick, softly on the door, and they'd get no response. And then they'd still no response. So then they'd go, still no response. And then they're coming in with a wrecking ball. And they're going to come through that wall no matter what. The bad part about a wrecking ball is it's going to hit the person on the other side. Now you've done some serious damage, right? So we want to keep in mind that a wrecking ball approach never brings positive results. The tapping doesn't help. The knocking doesn't help. None of those things help. So stonewalling, very dangerous. One of the things that I found in research that was really interesting to me was that in a relationship, it's actually more damaging to the relationship if the woman is the one who stonewalls. Now, why do you think that would be? I'm going to leave that one up to you. I'm going to let you post that in the comments below and let me know why you think it's more damaging when the woman is the one who stonewalls in the relationship. We'll see if you agree with the research on that one, okay? Contempt and disgust. Now, this has been so evident in so many cases where I've seen a couple together, even in just passing in public, the sort of disdain that you see that one partner has for the other. They dismiss them, they talk over them. I even saw one woman one time yelling at her husband. It was a public gathering. I was there with my family, and these were some people that they knew, so these weren't friends of mine. But I'm watching as this woman is just completely melting down over her husband. And she goes, "That is so stupid. You need to just shut up right now." Okay, well, that's really obvious contempt and disgust for her husband. But we do it a lot in more subtle ways that we don't always recognize. It can be in a little tone. It can actually be just ignoring the other person or talking about them like they're not there, talking about them to another person like they're, and especially when you do it with your children and you talk about your mate as though they weren't there. And it even has an effect, I got to say, if you have that conversation with anybody, whether your mate's there or not, it's very damaging to the relationship. In fact, one more thing, it happens very often is rolling eyes. Mate says something that's like, that's, you don't have to say anything. You just roll your eyes. It's like, that is so dumb. That communicates that, your character is bad. Not only what you said is dumb, but you have bad character. It's really judgment. Huge judgment that gets communicated through nonverbal and verbal means. So actually, this is the most toxic of the communication errors that anyone can make. And I hope that you can avoid doing that. What did you think? Did the information raise more questions? Do you want to learn more? Head over to A Wise Woman's Guide for show notes and links to the resources mentioned in this episode at awisewomensguide.com.